So I wanted to come on and I guess just share some thoughts that I have been thinking this rising as I woke up and speaking some affirmations over my life, the life of my partner, my baby. And and I just want to share some practices that I've been trying myself, okay? I think that's one thing that I can say about myself is that whatever I do, whatever practices I am led of my own, my spirit and everything to go into when I feel that they are beneficial, or even if I don't feel anything or think that they are, I love to share my experiences with them, period. So I'm going to show this really quickly. I have been inspired by other people who do this, so I do not in any way think that anything that I'm doing is absolutely original. I just don't believe that. The Bible already teaches us that there's really nothing new under the sun. And I think that that means that this stuff keeps coming back up again. These ritual practices, ideas, all of this continues to come up. So that's why that's to me a very real and true statement. But anyway, so I remember that I had accidentally taken this cup from somewhere. I don't know if it was a restaurant or if somebody else had already taken the cup from a restaurant, but then I took it from them. I can't remember which way, but I think that it happened like it was supposed to. All in all, at the bottom of this cup, and I still have my water in here, but I think you guys can see this, right? It reminds me of a symbol of the sun, one of the starburst symbols of the sun. Or it could just be a starburst, whatever. All in all, one day I decided to try something. And what it was that I tried was to fill my glass up with water and then to speak into that water, to speak into the water. So, one of the thoughts that came over me as I was doing that was the Bible verse in Genesis where it was talking about the Spirit of God hovering over the face of the waters, and how that's like the world was void at that time. And void, a lot of times for me, it doesn't mean that it was empty in a way, but it means that there was no actual order at the time, or all order had ceased. And so now there it was time to create something else. So with that being said, I started to speak from my mind and my heart. My mind and heart to me are synonymous, actually. And so I began to speak from that place into my water. And then I sealed that with my benediction, if you will. And that was that. I will say that my day, for the most part, went like what I declared into the water. On a micro level, it did. I'm asking for some pretty big things. So there are other things that have yet to be made clear or made manifest where there's evidence of it, but it's coming. So, anyways, that's one thing that I did, and I've been doing that practice now for at least 2 or 3 days. All right. Today's affirmations over the water were in regards to, like I said, my partnership with my person, my daughter, myself, and really anybody that is attached to us. Um, it moved me to tears eventually because things have not been great because we are two people who have our stuff. And what I mean by our stuff is our traumas, our triggers, our egos. Um, and while I think that literally everything is necessary, even that, all of that's necessary to lead and guide us. Hold on, guys. Something is bothering me with my Virgo Venus. I ain't gonna be able to let it go. Hold on. All right. So where were we? Okay. So all in all, I got a little emotional. You know, calling forth that which I want to see in our relationships, my personal relationship with myself, his personal relationship with him, and then the one with each other, and the one with our child. It made me think about and reflect on my parents' relationship. And um, right after me speaking into my water, well, let me go back a little bit. My mom and I had started texting. And so my beautiful mother is about 74 this year. She's 74 years old. And anyway, we were texting back and forth. And okay, so I guess now I'm going to share with you guys what has happened. Um, I have taken a break from my master's program right now. And I have a lot of reasons why. But the biggest reason is that I feel like while I am a studious person and I love to learn, and part of my motivation for getting back into school was because at the time I wasn't able to secure work, which I still have not been um, able to do. But I really think it's because it's going against something that I've already put out into the earth. And I fear that I was only doing it because of the notion that, there has been this promotion of going to college and things like that as a means of bettering yourself so that you can get better work, get paid more, and that be somehow good for you. But to be honest, the type of labor that I dream of, I I never had to go to school for that. Never. Like I was born with it. And even the things that I have chosen in school, like even when I changed my major several thousand times, everything that I changed my major to, it was because it was already within myself and stuff like that. And the only reason that I feel like a lot of times I went to school was because I didn't want to be viewed as unproductive. Like I think that's a thing. And I was already kind of feeling that way. Then you compare yourself to other people and where they are in life. And also with the fact that my life, I feel discontented because I don't feel like I'm living the type of lifestyle that I desire. And in this place, in this plane, it seems like you have to go to school or you have to work. You know what I'm saying? Like to get a dollar, you gotta work. And for me, I feel like I'm not a stranger to hard work and I'm not even afraid of it. It's just like I want to do it my way. So I've been on this journey of trying to figure out, okay, well, Jude, what is your way then? You know? And then compare my journey with trying to really find myself in my path and how I'm supposed to get to quote unquote the bag in a holistic way for myself, not compromising in any way. Sprinkle in relationships with men. Sprinkle in the fact that I continue to, of course, attract people who I think are providers or who I am hoping will provide for me. And we're at odds because they're like, what are you going to do basically if something were to happen to me? They also are drained and tired, if that makes sense. And so, while on one side, they would love to be this person who provides me with a life that I'm imagining in my head of luxury, of comfort, of ease, they desire that for themselves too. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? And here's the thing, my true desire is that I be so, I guess, balanced, because now I'm understanding you got to have balance. But my desire has always been that my creative energies, me harnessing them in a way that is practical and useful for the world, will be the way that I can turn around and provide for my family. And that includes my man, my daughter, um, and my extended family, and of course my family at large. I think that people in the world are my family at large. I'm not going to claim everybody, because everybody don't, act like that, or they don't want that, or it doesn't appear that way. But I think on a soul level, a spiritual level, everyone that exists here right now, I think in some way, shape, or form, they desire what I desire too. And I could be so wrong for thinking that way. And I hate that I do that, because this is how sometimes I have gotten, you know, I've gotten hurt because I believe that people think this way. So that's the reason why I'm kind of trying to be careful with that ideology, because there are some people who they are created for opposition. Anyway, so I'm speaking into my cup and I'm saying these affirmations and prayers for my relationship, um, because I do desire one. I would be remiss, I would be lying if I was like, I don't give a fuck about that. That's a lie. That's a lie. Okay. But I don't want just anything, and I don't want to continue patterns of harm either. And so there are some decisions that I have made over the past couple, really it's been a while, but it looks like it's been the past couple of weeks in regards to my relationship. All in all, that partially made me emotional, but I had been texting with my mom that earlier before I started speaking into my cup. And my mom had asked me how school was going. And so I had to let her know that I decided to take a break, because it's just been a lot in my mind. And since everything happens in the mind, when I am not clear about what I'm supposed to be doing, and bills are piling up, and which I really hate that we even have bills, but we do right now, and not only do we have bills, I mean, new bills are steadily being created, okay? And I want to partake in some of the benefits of the things that require these bills. And let's just be clear, living requires that we pay bills now. And that sucks to me, but I'm not totally opposed to being a part of the system. I don't care for it, but I understand that I am here. And so I just want to be a part of it in a way that is most authentic for me. And that is both useful for myself and my energy, as well as in a way that I can be useful, as you know what I'm saying, that I can be useful to mankind too, or to serve in the capacity that I serve as well. So along with this new understanding, and I don't want to say it's new, because I've been knowing that I'm neurodivergent and stuff like that, but it had never been classically diagnosed. Yes, I have been, me and my twin brother, we have, it had been said that we had learning disabilities and stuff like that, but never have we gotten, any further of a diagnosis than we had learning disabilities. And that was something that I was ashamed of before. I'm not ashamed of it anymore. I've really had to work a great deal through that. I am still in certain ways ashamed of the fact that things are harder for me to grasp, especially when it comes to things like with numbers. I hate that part, because so much of the world requires that we use numbers, especially with money. And I do desire money. And I had shame for a really long time around that too. So there are so many different things dynamically that are being worked on and having to be worked through that are really affecting me. And they've always truly affected me. They literally have shaped my mind and or reshaped my mind. Because in my youth, my desire was to be a provider for my family. And the way that I wanted to do it was by becoming a star. I love to sing. I love to perform. I am very expressive. So the performing arts, all of that was so me. It was so my lane. It wasn't the only part of me, but it was so big for me. And especially being in my youth. I think that when we are born and as we are children, we are the closest to the purest part of ourselves in those time frames. And those time frames are really important when it comes to parental guidance and care and stuff with what you put into your children's minds or slash their hearts. I call it heart mind. So what you put in your children's heart mind at that time is so big because it can literally cause so many blockages in their lives. You can want them to be successful, but you think if you're putting into them what the world considers success versus what they see as success, which they are God, just like you all are God. Ooh, I have so many different thoughts, guys. Herein lies, I think, a lot of my so-called problems because it's not that I can't focus. It's just like for me, I can always see how everything is connected. And I always try to connect them all in each thing that I'm doing. And then I can sometimes get lost in it, which is terrible, right? So this idea of focus is really important and significant for me. And it's not that I cannot focus, it's just I have so many different things that I'm wanting to share at once. But I digress. I believe that parents are supposed to be coaches and guides to their children, not supposed to dictate their life, because I believe that just like a seed has already everything that it needs within itself in order to grow into its kind, whatever it is. If you plant a watermelon seed, then everything that the watermelon seed needs to become the watermelon is already in that seed. So every one of us start off as a seed in our mother's wombs. And yes, we are unfertilized there, but we still have all the makings of who we are going to be and who we are meant to be. Our fathers who participate in the germinating process, when they fertilize and or activate the egg, that's their portion, that's their role in the circle of life. It's like that's the water. You know what I'm saying? And being in the mother's womb is that being underground, which is where everything happens. All of the biological processes that need to go on so that that seed can eventually grow up and out and become and make clear what it's meant to become happens in the womb, in the darkness, right? At any rate, we're here to guide. We're not here to dominate and control them. I think that parents, and I can say this, I'm a parent now, and I'm so deathly afraid of doing this to my baby. I really, really am. And so I try to keep it ever before me in my mind that my daughter came here with something in her. And it is my job to watch and observe that seed. And the beautiful thing about parents is that I think that the Bible said that we were supposed to, produce and multiply after our kind. So the goodness about being parents, right, is that that seed has essences and what word am I looking for? And processes like both of the parents. So, yes, it is true that your parents do know you, or we as parents, we do know our children. We do to a great extent. But here's the thing, I think that parents can sometimes go wrong because here's something I think is important. If you did not fulfill things that you knew within inside you should have fulfilled, you're going to either be envious of your child or you are going to be fearful because of whatever experiences that you experienced that maybe aided in you not fulfilling more of what you felt within that you were supposed to. And you can interject that fear within your child, or you can downright totally break the spirit of your child by causing them to feel that the desires that they have and that you had are wrong, or that they will never come to pass because of the hardships and the experiences that you endured. And also, let's be clear, the choices that you made due to the experiences that shaped you. And that can be both a beautiful thing, like if you choose to support your child because you didn't have the support, and this, helps your baby to grow more into who they're meant to be. And then you get a chance to live vicariously through them by way of seeing them become the fullness of what you really desired. That's a beautiful aspect of this. But a lot of times people become envious of their children because they didn't get to become the full flower, right? Or they didn't grow up into the watermelon fully, if we're going to keep on brand with what I said. And so they can just become very mean. And if you are fearful, you can be afraid that the ways that you may have succumbed to experiences in your life, your child will too, because you can see on them you, right? And I understand that. But I think as a guide, our jobs as parents and coaches, spirit guides to our children, are to honor ourselves within our children, right? But also to just give them game, like as much as you can, give them game about the pitfalls that could be in the things that they find interest in. That's it. That's all you can do. And to get angry and mad because they don't even take your advice and stuff, I understand it. I just feel it's misplaced. I think a lot of times it's fear for your children. It's fear. But when it is envy, that's like altogether like you hate your kid. So I digress. I got on a tangent. My mom brought me to tears even more heavily and I started to also affirm her, and I honored my father who has passed on as well, because like I said, when I let my mom know that I was taking a break from school, she began to encourage me. And I feel like my mom did that because my mom knows about life experiences. And though she did not complete school in the ways that I think maybe she would have wanted to, and that may be something that's very important to her that we do, she in times past has been a little, disappointed, and it has come through where she'll get a little frustrated with us. But more times than not, my mom has always been very supportive of really the things that whatever we decide. And I believe that's because she's had a lot of experiences in this life. And rather than rail against me or make me feel bad for the choice that I had to make, she just encouraged me, and it made me cry. It brought me to tears, y'all, because my mom doesn't really know, as far as from my mouth and me sharing with her the things that I've been going through that have detracted my focus. Okay. So I was just grateful that that's the way she chose to respond to that news, rather than to make me feel bad. Like, what are you doing? Talking about all the things that also are true about when you quit, school or whatever, the ways that things could go wrong. I'm grateful that she did not do that. That's all I'm trying to ultimately say. And it made me reflect on my mom's experiences and on my father. And I started to just thank God for the fact that those two beings are my parents, and that from them I think I have both. Oh my God, I'm going to cry again. I have both the best parts of my parents, and I also feel like I have some of the bad tendencies as well. Because as gods and goddesses, when you come together with another person, all you guys do is create yourself, but you create yourself in another way. And the beauty of that is there are so many possibilities of who and what your child can become, and how they can show up in this world, and how they can further progress the desires that you even had. It can go so many different ways. I believe that parents sometimes can get disappointed in their children if the children doesn't go the way that they think that they should have. But I think that if we can back off of expectations and allow our children to be whoever it is they are, who they were when they were fertilized at conception, and who they were always only gonna be. Like, they can only be what they are. They can only be what and who they are. Now, out the way that we coach them, and the experiences and the environments that we create for them, oh, they play a huge part of shaping that energy and shaping the virtues and the powers and the strengths and the weaknesses. It does a number. But I thank God that who they are meant to be will always shine through. But I think that parents can cause blockages for their children. They can make the work so much more harder for them if they are not careful. I have been having to work through mental challenges about who I am, what my purpose is. It's like a lot of cobwebs and spider webs having to be swept away in my mind about who I am, how I show up, how I am not crazy, how I am not wrong for the way that in my heart, in my mind, in my heart mind, I desire to show up. It's not wrong that I don't desire to work a traditional damn job. There's nothing wrong with that. However, I do feel like I have to create my own space. I have to be the boss in some kind of way. And when I say that, I don't mean that out of ego, y'all. I mean that out of a space like I have to be able to create from my inner being and watch that process. I have to motivate other people as well in order to get in on this thing with me. I have to shine my light on people that helps them grow up in their own energy too. Like, this is a part of my mission. I am also a teacher, a writer, a speaker, a thought leader. I am a lover of souls and of people. Spirituality is so monumental for me. It is literally what helps me to get up every day, to continue to show up as myself, to fight to show up for me, because it is very, very hard. Let's be very clear. My job is to shine my light and to share with others how they can shine their own. My job is to study, to be immersed in things like relationships, because they teach me the way of the world. They teach me people. They teach me places, things, and ideas. My job is to travel to places that activate more knowledge and more wisdom and more understanding in me, so that I can also share those messages with others that will be healing, or that will burn away impurities, lies, deceit, and deception from them and myself. This is part of my job. And I'm not going to say that actually, working a job cannot aid in that. But what I have found is that working in a job, like what we know a job to be, it drains me. I am tired. And the work that I really want to do, that I get so much joy from, that I light up from, that I am my most authentic self with, I don't have the energy to do. And so I said no to that. But in me saying no, yes, I suffer because I don't have the money that I need. It's true. And so my mental battle has been, okay, well, I need to go get a job then. So then I go through the process and I go through the steps that I need to secure work, so that I could just make $1, so that I can have a space that I am proud of, that I love, in an area that is affluent, that I am also in love with, so that I can have businesses. These are things that I truly desire to have, but I have not yet found the way that I can make my money where I don't have to go up to a job like that, if that makes sense. You understand what I'm saying? I have not found that, and I am still seeking, and I am searching, and I'm trying not to do so desperately, because desperation keeps things at bay. It really, really does. And I know that because I've been desperate before. So I know that that's not the way to do it. And my spirit team continues to tell me, just relax, Jude. Like, you are amazing. You are great. You do have this thing that you're supposed to do, and you will do it. You've got to relax. And yet these bills, my cell phone is off right now because I don't have the funds to pay for it. My internet it may go off soon as well because I don't have the funds to pay for it. And it's not that I haven't done work, guys. I have ebooks, I have courses, doing the thing that I know I'm meant to do. And I share it, and I talk about it, and my link is in my bio, right? And I'm constantly doing me every day. I'm constantly doing what I would love to be paid for free every day. This is how I show up every day. When I'm making my TikTok posts, when I was making my Instagrams or my Facebooks, this is me showing up the way that I know I'm meant to show up. That is not always honored, though. That is not what's given the dollar. My readings, the way that I share my readings, the way that I want to talk and teach more about our spiritual gifts and just point people more and more to their divinity and how they do have the ability to create out of nothing just like I do. Like, that's all I want to do every day, all day. And yes, I do want to get paid for it. Not only that, it's not necessarily even just about getting paid for it. It's the fact that the only reason why I feel like I need the money is so that I can have me a home, a safe space, so that I can have the necessities of life. That's really the only reason I want to get paid. And not even just the necessities, but I want that in luxury because I deserve that. And so do you. I know that I am a priestess. And one thing about the priest in the Word of God, the people who are also God bless the priests and the priestess and their families. That's what the tithes were for. To bless them so that they can forever and always be in proper position to serve the people, which is in essence serving God. So I speak that into my life on the daily. And I know that it's coming. But right now, baby, it is hard to see because I got bills. I do. I got bills. And there is a way that I know that I'm going to live. But my reality is not yet currently reflecting that. And I don't know if it's just because people don't know about me or what, or if just people don't value what I'm sharing. Because I do think that people believe that this should be free. And I'm not saying that it's not. I do a lot of things for free. But I believe that people need to remember that it is the priestess and priest's job. And just like you go to work and it is in the universal laws of God, i.e. the Torah or the instructions of God, that when a man or a woman goes to work, they should be paid their wages that day and should not be made to wait. I need y'all to understand that priests and priestess are supposed to be paid as well, but the way that they are paid are through the tithes and offerings that are through, church. And I'm not talking about just the physical churches that are but replicas of the true church. I'm just saying real church is either families or individuals who are of service to the Most High God through their life, where they have a specific skill set that assists you or someone that you know in transforming your mind, in getting your life in a very specific way or in a holistic way together. If they motivate you to just get up another day, if they motivate you to understand that you are God in the flesh, you are the divine in motion, that deserves an offering. Why? Because there is so much darkness and deception out here in the world right now that's telling you that God is outside of you and that you got to go show up to a building. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that there's anything really wrong with that. I'm really not. But in a way it is. If there's anything that is not pointing you to the divinity in you, that's something that's wrong. That's all I'm going to say that. I will also say that if you're pouring your all into someone else and you're not becoming more and more abundant too, there's something wrong with that. But if you are, then more power to you. I dare not speak against that. Because I do realize that everything that we see on the outside, everything that has become a societal norm and structure on the outside is really but a replica of what goes on in here and within the body. That's it, that's all. But the fact that they're not talking about that in the churches, I think that that's why I have a problem with it. And if anybody would allow me into their church so I could share and teach about this, I would. I would show up every day with my Bible, with the other books that help me get this understanding, and I would teach diligently about this because I really want people to know this shit. And guess what? I wouldn't even necessarily have to get paid like actual money as long as I had food, as long as I had a beautiful place to stay for my family and myself, transportation to get to and fro, and as long as I had the ability to travel from time to time so that I could go to these other geological and geographical places that help to activate me. I'd be down. Period. Showing up faithfully. I'd be a faithful servant. Yes, I would. In the church. It's all I ever wanted growing up. But the church is not teaching all things. But there are people who gather together, which is what the church really is about. The church is about the family coming together. The church is about the immediate family and then the family at large, the community, right? Coming together to be replenished, rejuvenated, renewed in their thought processes, which is about the spirit, in their emotions, and then activated to take action in the world. So that then we can see within our communities that word at work, which would hopefully create shalom, wholeness, peace within the community. But not only that, we have to understand how to fight as well against our lower vibrational natures, which is Hashatan or Satan. You've got to learn how to fight against that, which still all goes on in our heart minds first. And then it appears in our lives. In fact, I believe that sometimes we don't realize what's going on in our minds, in the recesses of our minds. And so it has to show up in the physical and like slap us in the face a couple times. We got to hit our head up against this particular wall so many damn times to where we begin to recognize, wait a minute, something is going on here. What is it? And then that points to your mindset. And then you're like, oh, so this is showing up because in the recesses of my mind, I'm really afraid of A, B, C, and D. And so I keep manifesting these types of experiences to show me that it's me continuing to think of it. Oh, okay. So that means if I don't want to experience this anymore, I need to start thinking of something different. Oh, what are you damn? Why didn't y'all just say that? The word of God says all these types of things and more. But I just feel that so many of the same lessons are being taught in church, or that was my experience in the past. I don't know what they're doing now because I've been removed from it for a while. But I say that to say that so many of the things that were being taught in church, they were not in alignment with what I was seeing in the word of God. And that's why I couldn't get with it. And I wanted to so bad, but I couldn't get with it. So here I am. Still a priestess. Still a servant of the Most High God. But now I show up on TikTok or I show up on Facebook Live. Now, rather than only using the Bible, I use tarot cards, oracle cards, crystals, as well as my word. I use the Apocrypha. I use the Septuagint. I use so many so many other beautiful books. I use plants. I use the herbs. I use everything that the Most High God created for the service of man. And most importantly, I understand now that God is man. God is man, and it is the spirit that dwells within man, of knowledge, of wisdom, of understanding. It's what causes us to manifest and continue to create, continue to build, continue even to destroy. All of it is God. God is the animals. God is the trees, the grass, the sky, the rain, the snow, the fire, the water, the earth. It's all of it. And so because I recognize God is in all of it and is all of it, that's why I'm no longer afraid to Tap into the beautiful wisdom of plants, of crystals, of the herbs and spices, of the words of men and women on paper, but most importantly, of the dialogue and the thoughts that go on within my own mind. I'm not afraid of it anymore. I lean into it now. I ask questions, and baby, I get answers. And if I am wise in the eyes of anyone, this is the reason why. All right, this has been too long. I did not expect for it to go this long. For those who would like to support me, for those who would like to tithe into the ministry that is me, go to the link in my bio. I have so many of the offerings that I have already present, just waiting for some of you guys. And I know that I have even more to give, but I feel like it's not right to create something else just yet when some of my other creations have not yet been utilized. So, and even if you don't want to purchase an ebook from me, or you don't desire to get a course from me, then I ask that you donate. I have a link just for donations as well. So, but there are a lot of things that I do, you guys, in an effort to create money for myself, as a form of work, but not necessarily going to a job where I punch in my clock and then I get the money like that. I have several businesses that I do promote on the daily. I may not promote it the way that people know about promotion. I'm not constantly throwing it in people's faces because it's weird. I have a thing about it, but I do talk about what I do. I have an online hair store. I have, like I said, my ebooks, all of that. I have drastically reduced the prices of my ebooks that weren't even that much money in the first place, just because I don't know. I just felt like people don't really want to pay for these things, or whatever the reason is. I don't know what it is. I don't even want to project. But my ebooks are like $2. There's no way that's going to break anybody's bank. No way. No freaking way. In those books, you guys, I have so many things that Spirit has gifted me to share with people that I really do feel will be transformative. Is it anything different from what people are saying? Probably not. But it's my voice, and it's the way that I, talk, and the way that I share the information. So anyhow, guys, go over to the link in my bio. Go through all the things that I offer. If you are led to support, if you felt me in any kind of way, if you understood anything that I was trying to say, though I may have been all over the place, please support me by shopping with me or donate. But to me, the websites that I created, the things that I have curated, that is me doing my work. And so I want to work for it. I don't have a problem with working for it. It's just my work is showing up in a different way. I digress. Peace, love, light, and darkness, which all work together to bring balance and harmony, first within ourselves and then within our world. Thank you for listening. Bye. If you're new to my channel and you're seeing this on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I also have a membership that you guys can join, and that is another way that I plan to work. Okay, you can check those out as well. All right, bye guys.